former trainer of the year, Virgil Hunter, and I really enjoyed listening to John, Charles, and Frank on Real Boxing Talk.
All right, we are back once again on the Ultimate Sports Network. This is Real Boxing Talk, talking real boxing, talking about 2 weeks in a row. Maybe someone's picked the winner in the right round and all that stuff, and we'll talk about the person who hasn't. Anyway, that's another story entirely. Anyhow, now, of course, when I do that, you realize once I actually edit it, he's over there, so it doesn't make a difference. Anyhow, all right, I think that way. So, and I'll edit this out, so we'll do that again. Let's start with the big one, and let's start with the way it was done instead of just it was done. I saw a picture of Ugas in the hospital, thumbs up or whatever, but okay, thumbs up is cool. But if you've ever been in the hospital and you got stuff strapped to you and all this stuff and everything, and you're facing it, hey, I'm going to be okay, but not for a while. This was a domination, I think. Now, there are a couple, you guys got some shots in. Spence got wobbled once or twice, but it's a domination. Charles, is this something that, okay, we'll get to John's part of what we expected here in a minute, but is this, I know we walked around a little bit, but is Spence that good, or was Ugas just not up to the challenge?
No, I don't think it's Ugas wasn't up to the challenge. Ugas is a damn good fighter. And for a lot of other people, he could have stood there and do what he had to do. And it wasn't perfect for Spence because we saw in round 6, he can say about losing his mouthpiece or whatever. He took his mind off of it, but he got hit and he took his mind off where he could have literally, I was like, oh my goodness, I thought he was in trouble. Yeah. And he went back to the ropes and came back and kind of regathered himself, but gathered himself again. But no, I want to give kudos to Spence because he's that good. But I also want to, Spence is that good, but I want to give you guys some credit because I think he's a tough guy and he could have been there with other people. But I think we really started to see the talent level of Spence and what it means when he said repeatedly that he's going to continue to improve and he raises the level of his game up to who he's facing. And the way that he was able to come forward on Ugas just said a lot. I mean, granted, he went through a little adversity, but once he turned it on and made some adjustments, he came straight for that man. And there was nothing that man could do. This man is a tough guy. He's not a one-trick pony. You know, he has a lot of accolades. He's been down before. I'm talking about Ugas. But Spence was on point, man. And he tried, and I think he's so laser focused. That's what people, they hear him talking, saying he's not the same guy he was before. But I think you just kind of could see it. Like he says, I didn't train like I was supposed to. I got a nutritionist now. I feel good. And like people think they were thinking, you need to show me, show us. And I think he did. So now, you know, everybody said he was scared of Crawford and all the other crap. And now it's like, you know what? I'm not going to say nothing till this time. We're not going to serve no wine till this time. It's time to serve the damn wine. And he served it. He served the wine. And it's like, I already told you, the funniest part, and I love it, this is how people that really don't talk a lot do it best. And he was one of them. After he had done, and of course, Jim Gray wanted to say his little piece, whatever, try to ask something crazy. My man said his little piece, talking about, y'all know what y'all want. Y'all know what I want. He said, tell them to get ready. Tell them coming for that, get strapped. So what I'm saying, that's how you do it. You ain't got to say much of anything. You just let the person know all them excuses, all that crap you was talking, it's time. I hope you're ready. That's beautiful. Beautiful.
And unfortunately, I had to tell it to Jim Gray, but that's another story entirely. Okay, so John, since, I don't know, someone on this panel correctly predicted the round, why did it happen, you think, the way that it happened? And why did you think it was going to happen that way to begin with?
Because Spence, as you guys saw, is relentless. And Ugas had never been stopped in his career. That's why I went later. So I thought if he was going to get him, it would be later and it would take a while. And Ugas is a good fighter, as Charles said, and it would take him a little bit of time. But he just beat him up. That was what was really kind of amazing. And he's so heavy-handed, Errol Spence. His body shots, I mean, those are devastating. Those, I mean, I was grunting myself watching, right. You know, and he doesn't stop. And he just keeps coming. And he's a very consistent fighter, which you really like. You know, we said last week, or I said, it's not the fastest guy in the world. he's almost reminiscent of me of a smaller Joe Louis in a sense that, he's a southpaw, but that was Louis. No one said anything about his speed, but he was so heavy-handed. He was, like I said, when I went back and watched it, because I thought, what did I say about a train? He's like a train. He just starts picking up speed, and you can't stop him. Now, yeah, he got hurt in the 6th round, and I was like, Charles, I was writing while I was watching. Oh, man, and you could tell he was buzzed, his legs. But and Lawrence Cole is just the craps, as a referee, but whatever. He's always been that way, so he's consistent. We'll give him that. He's always been a crappy referee. So that was scary for him. What I liked is he did what the great fighters do, and I'll use that word great. He recovered quickly, and then he just started taking it to Ugas. And I always like that when guys do that, because it's like they're insulted. How dare you do that to me? All right. Now I'm going to start doing it. And it was like I said, the word with him is relentless. He just he throws out that little jab, and sometimes it's a hard jab. Then he goes to the body. Then he does the uppercuts. Then he works the body. Then you're always constantly on the defensive. And it was a great performance. It was. Charles had predicted that he would rise to the top. He did. He delivered the best performance probably of his career, I think, seriously, because he was fighting a guy that's probably the best fighter he's ever fought. And like we said, or somebody around here said, the first few rounds would be close. And then he separated himself, and he just showed that. Remember the cream? We were talking about the cream. Remember? I just enjoyed it, because I was so convinced. I think we all were, that Spence was really wanting to prove to people that, yeah, I really am the real deal. You want to doubt me? You go ahead and doubt me. Did he have a few flaws? Yes. What's interesting to me is it seems like he doesn't like it to the body, which I thought was interesting. I know Terrence is going,
picking up some notes. Yeah.
Yay. That's interesting. So I don't know what exactly that means, but he's a human being. He can't just be a machine. There's going to be something there going on. But he gets an A+ for his performance, for being sharp. He was totally on point and sharp. And again, I agree with Charles too. Ugas, classy, tough, and he'll be back. He's not done. Broken orbital bone. He'll be back. He complained a little, but that's just because he's a competitor. But I was glad the stoppage was correct. The doctor was right. He couldn't see, and Spence kept hitting him with those uppercuts, and he was going to go down eventually. He almost did a couple times. You could see he backed up, and it was like if Spence hit him with another shot, he's going to get. And you didn't want to see that, because he had given it everything. He gave it everything he had. Just got beat by a better fighter.
Going back to something you said in the middle of that, do you think it was, and I don't think this is a conscious thing, but there's, and certain fighters have this, and you get to the point where the fight's going along, both are competing, and they know that they're in control, but the guy gets a shot off. He gets an uppercut in, he gets a hook in, he gets something that wobbles a little bit. It's like, now see, look, I was playing along with this really nice, but now you've gone and made me do it. And then that's when the butt kicking happened. That's what I saw happen there. It's like, okay, Ugas gets a shot in. All right, you just turned me up another notch now. Now you made me go on to do it. And that from that point on, it was ugly. Or depending upon how you want to call it, it could have been beautiful if we're looking at the sweet science. But it was like, look, we're taking care of business now. So it happened the way you called it, John. But also I think it's because of what Charles had said before. Yeah, kudos to you, dude. But also what Charles was saying before, it's like you have a guy in there that knows his craft. And the only questions I think that we have with Errol Spence right now, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, is that he knows his craft, but we still have questions about, the accident. Has he fully recovered from the accident? Has he fully recovered from the facial surgeries? Has he fully recovered from all that, to when he gets pressured by someone who can actually do something about it, that starts to break down. I don't know that anyone that knows what they're talking about is actually questioning his ability anymore, or his heart, or his will. I think it's more of a physical thing. Can he stand the pressure? Charles, does that sound about right, or am I reaching a little bit there?
No, I don't think you're reaching. I think a lot of people are asking that, but I don't know how people are asking that question. I mean, what else?
Right. That's the only thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he got hit. I mean, he got hit in the face. He got hit in the mouth. He lost his mouthpiece. I mean, all of the stuff that he's been hit everywhere that you think he could be hurt, and he was hurt. So, I mean, right now it's just I don't know. I don't know what else he can do. I mean, I don't. If he sits for another year, is he gonna be better? There's always. I mean, you understand the way the body is constructed. You understand how things heal and doesn't heal. He's always gonna have an issue with a possible detached retina. Sugar Ray Leonard did that for years. He always didn't want to fight. There was a chance when the right hit or the right tear, something is possible. His mouth is never going to be the same. You can just tell by his mouth. Well, that's what he said. His mouthpiece doesn't fit right because his mouth is reconstructed. And he says the mouthpiece was jumping all around. He has a new mouthpiece. So some things are permanent, but I think that his will, his skill set, he just accepted it for what it is. He's like, the people on the outside are the ones that are looking for reasons why he can't. But when he continues to perform, particularly this last time, I don't know what it is. I think the other part of it too now is, I saw something where they made a joke about something where when you saw Ugas's eye, right? And then you saw who did he fought, went across the pond and fought. He fought Ugas, not that Crawford fought as well when he won the first title. Spence won the first title.
Oh, Ricky Burns.
Burns, but what was the other guy, the guy that just lost recently to Crawford? Garnett.
Kell Brook.
Kell Brook, right. So
Okay,
you go back and you look at the situation with the eye that Spence did to Brook, and he also did to Ugas. Yeah. And then you go back and you look at Crawford's eye when he fought Brook. You saying to yourself, I don't know, Spence. I mean, Spence like telling Crawford, you might want to watch out, buddy, because you see if he cracking audible bones like that, bro. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You better, and we know too that Crawford before didn't look great defensively, even against Sean Porter. So I'm into, and I'm going to talk about it later, but I think this is going to be a lot more intriguing than people want to think it is, because there's a lot of possibilities depending on the style.
John, does it seem, and you're more immersed in this than we are, I think, but it seems to me from what I've been reading in the last week or last few days actually, that I would have thought beforehand that the majority of the people that were following this were going to say Spence over Crawford because of this, blah, blah, blah. Crawford hasn't done anything, hasn't proved anything, blah, 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 blah. What I'm seeing after this, even after a dominant performance like this, I'm hearing now, since Spence has decided I'm going to call out Crawford, now it seems like people are giving Crawford the upper hand. Am I seeing that right? Or is this something in my own mind?
Yeah, I think you're right. Crawford replied. He said, "Yeah, you just keep my belts warm there, bro."
Yeah.
And that was a great reply. So that was great. And it does seem that Spence Crawford has the edge. And I will jump ahead here and blow it a little bit, but I'll say even I think that perhaps Crawford has a little bit of the edge. Yeah,
you heard it here first.
Seriously, yeah, I do. I'm not sure. I mean, I could be wishy-washy and change my mind and see how things go, but just visualizing them, that's all you got. You just visualize. Right. But Charles made a good point about the eye shots. He gets banged up. I just think that if that was Crawford and he got Spence hurt like that, he'd jump on him so fast that nobody would even know what happened. Right. That's Crawford. You got to talk about two guys that have got a dog in them, both of them. To me, this is Leonard and Hearns. It's older versions in a sense. That's how big this matchup is. Yeah. And they're older, they're in their 30s and all that, and they've marinated it enough. And Errol Spence, you're talking about the accident and everything. I think that's why he's so determined to do this now. I think that accident made him, he looked at his own life in a sense, and he didn't want to have any regrets. If that's the guy that everybody wants him to fight, and he said that, okay, let's do this. I'm not thinking about Charlo. I'm not thinking about moving up to 154, even though I might in the back of my mind, but I want to fight that guy. He wants to fight me. He's a free agent. Let's do this. And that's why I'm convinced they're going to do. A lot of people though don't think that it's still going to happen. There's really no reason that it won't happen now. It has to happen. If it doesn't happen, then one of the fighters is just talking and really doesn't want it.
Yeah, because there's no escape now, I don't think.
Nope.
There's no one else that they can go, well, let's slide in this guy, let's slide in that guy, and then you prove this. Yeah, it's pretty much they've both wiped out anyone they can fight. So, all right, Charles, we're going to switch gears here. We're going to talk about something that's coming up in England this weekend. Now, I know everyone's thinking, yeah, we know, but I'm just going to go ahead and spell it out anyway, just so people understand when they watch this show that we cover every aspect of everything. So, coming up, title fight in England, in Liverpool, John Riel Castlemore against Paul Butler. All right, seriously, this is the point where we're getting to the point where we're saying, this is it. This is the bad mouthing or the running of the mouths, I guess I should say. Because I don't really think they've been bad mouthing each other, but the running of let's get in this. So we have Tyson Fury against Dillian Whyte. This is one of those, we've gone around, we've danced around everything. We've had this, we've had that. We fought Parker, we fought Chisora, we fought this, we got that. What do we see here, Charles? What do we see?
I think to me, it's kind of clear cut, right? I mean, granted, it might be wrong, and I'll stake my claim on this, but we see a guy in Dillian Whyte having opportunities before, always trying to say he's ready. And we've heard that from his people saying that he really is a lot better fighter than what he's shown. And he's been waiting for opportunity. He's been down, came back, recovered. Now he has a shot. You always said you want a shot at the big time and always professing how good he really is. Your shot is now here this weekend. And on the flip side with Tyson Fury, love him, hate him, overweight, concussed, delirious, drugged, whatever you want, however you want to say it. He has shown you, particularly with the fights with Deontay Wilder, that he's the top dog. He's number one in that division. And however he did it or whatever he says, he's proven it. And he was in wars. Those fights with Deontay Wilder were wars. Because Deontay Wilder has one of the most vicious right hands ever in boxing. I mean, ever. You know, and he's, when you hit by those, and then even if it's with late counts by the referees, when you're able to sustain and get up and still fight and still be able to take that guy out, that says something about you. So we're not going to say our normal word, crafty. I'm going to use a different word. Tyson Fury has moxie, baby. Moxie. So,
Excellent.
Yeah, moxie.
Let me get my zoot suit out. We're ready.
Yeah, he has moxie. He does. And he has realized over the time that instead of being really wild and being crazy, he's actually starting to make sense when he speaks. And it's in a way now that you start to appreciate him. I have anyway. I thought he'd be some clown. I thought he'd be some joker off from somewhere is just bizarre and foul-mouthed, ignorant person. But
themselves the Gypsy King, right?
Right. But more and more when you watch him now and over these fights and over time, he's shown you that dude's really connected and understands what's going on. And he understands the business of boxing. So with that being said, getting back to the point, I think he's ready. And he doesn't have to say a lot. He says enough. And he's direct. Like he told Deontay Wilder, I'm going to show you. And my only thing is, though, Dillian Whyte's going to have to show us that he's ready. I'm not sure if he is. I might be wrong. Everybody has a puncher's chance. But Tyson Fury has already delivered that. He's proven that he deserves to be the top guy. This is Dillian Whyte's shot. Question is, Dillian, what are you going to do with it? And if you're not ready, here's what I'll say. Last but not least, if you're not ready, Tyson will knock you out. That's what I know.
Well, John, I'm looking at something here. I'm going to throw a few names at you here, and I think Charles has made the point that I'm going to ask you to make. But here's where we're going. All right, so let's go back to 2015. 7-round TKO loss to Anthony Joshua for Dillian Whyte. Then we start moving up the ladder here. 2016, Derek Chisora, split decision win.
Twice.
Twice, yeah. Robert Helenius, Joseph Parker, Chisora again. Povetkin, KO'd in the 5th, but he comes back and gets a TKO in the 4th against him in the rematch. Has he done enough? These are names that we keep talking about in boxing. They always keep getting a shot. Povetkin, Helenius, they all keep getting shots. Chisora, Parker, they keep getting shots. He's fought them all. And that's the thing that we are whining about for most everyone else. Who have you fought? He's fought them all. He stared down everybody with a couple of exceptions in the heavyweight division right now. As Charles is going to say, he didn't fight that guy. He didn't fight King Kong. Okay, who did? Right? All right. But seriously, yeah, I didn't either. So
King Kong challenged him.
Yeah, right. That's it.
Went,
nope. Well, I don't want that smoke. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But for the most part, when we said this guy's ducked this, he's ducked that, he still fought most of the guys, everyone else, those the flavor of the month guys. So is that enough? Or is it you needed one more? You needed something else? Or was there nothing that's going to prepare him for this fight that is Tyson Fury?
It's enough for now. The way it is nowadays, it's enough. There's only 5 or 6 guys that we even talk about at that, if that, in the heavyweights. It's not deep with them. Not like the welterweights, not like the junior middleweights, not like the middleweights, the cruiserweights, the light heavyweights. I mean, the division is pretty weak in a sense. There's just so many guys that we talk about week in and week out. Yeah, he's a funny kind of guy, Dillian Whyte. He's a sharp guy, you know, and he says things that are actually, now that he's talking, I called him the quiet man in my article, and then a day later he makes me look like I'm an idiot by starting to talk. I'm like, God dang it. So I almost changed the headline and went, right. But I see people were getting on him about that, and Frank Warren was getting on him, the promoter, and I'm like, who cares? Fury's going to promote the fight. Let him be quiet. It actually gave it a different wrinkle. And I thought the promoter being a big baby, and now he's talking a little bit. You know, you got to do what you got to do. See, what made me wonder about him was when he wouldn't sign the contract. You know, don't talk for 5 years about getting your fight, and then when it's right there in front of you, you don't want to sign. You sign 2 minutes before the deadline. You're going to make the most money you've ever made in your whole career. You make $7 million. Okay, Fury's making $29 million. Okay, I get that, but he's the champ. You know, he fought Deontay Wilder 3 times. He went to hell with Deontay Wilder. He did. He was done in the 3rd fight. I don't really care what it. When he stumbled and fell on his face, the first fight he should have never even got up when he got knocked down in the 12th round. I mean, he's right.
Let me interrupt real quick when you get back to that.
Sure.
Because Charles is sitting there thinking, I don't do squat before I get $7 million. So I know exactly what he's thinking. So,
exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't understand that. Don't moan and groan for 5 years.
50 cents, I'll consider it. But not
You're
$7 million.
right. You don't moan and groan for years and years, and then when you got your opportunity, you moan and groan and moan and groan. Like, you must not have much belief in yourself, buddy. Well, he seemed to have got past that, and they sparred years ago. Well, I hope they sparred years ago, and now if you read Dillian Whyte saying, yeah, I taught him all this stuff, and yeah, right, okay. They both are saying they beat each other up in sparring. That rarely happens in sparring. If you've ever been to any, they don't try to beat each other up. They just spar. It's like a practice. So you can't believe what either of them are saying. But yeah, I think he earned it, Frank. I do. I've never been all that impressed with him. I mean, what he does is he wobbles everybody, though. See, and this is what Charles said. He's got a puncher's chance. Yes. He had Anthony Joshua walking around like he was ready to go in that fight. People don't talk about that. He had him. He hit him with a left hook, I think, or right, and would have been one or the other. And he was in bad shape. Joshua was in bad shape. And then he came back and knocked him out. And Joseph Parker knocked him down in the last round and almost got him out of there. Chisora wobbled him a few times, and he barely beat Chisora, and then knocked him out in the 12th round in another brawl. And then he got knocked flat out by an older, over-the-hill Povetkin. Yeah. So the point is, and I think the point is, he's not anything special. Sorry, Dillian, but he's not. He is what, oh, I know, sounds terrible. He is what we have in the, oh, I know, God, I'm hating myself for saying it because I like him. I heard him interviewing him. He's a nice guy. He is what we have now. He's okay. I'll just say that. He's okay. He beat most everybody in the heavyweights. But I thought, I like Joseph Parker too, and I thought if Parker fought him again, he'd beat him. He's a different guy now. When he's with Andy Lee, he's a different fighter now. He kicked the you-know-what out of Chisora in a rematch. So he earned it. He's going to get the most money of his career. He back to what Charles was saying real fast. Does he beat him, Tyson Fury? No. Unless he catches him. And that's possible, but no. So the odds of him being a 6-1 underdog are pretty much spot on, I think.
Looking at the clock on the wall, we still have half an hour show left. So I don't know what we talk about now because apparently there's no
Keep going.
chance.
We
in
can go
hell.
further.
There's no chance in hell he's got a shot. Okay.
He's
so
got a shot.
So Charles, let's go to that. What does he have to do? Because if we're going to say Tyson Fury is the favorite, which obviously I was going to say is, what has to be done? Because we looked at Wilder the second and third fight and say, okay, the second fight maybe, the third fight you don't have a chance, Deontay Wilder. You're going to have to do blah 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 to make this into a fight, and he did. So what can be done here for Dillian Whyte to make this into a fight? Because let's face it, the names we just listed off, they're not chopped liver compared to for what the heavyweights are. He beat the guys he had to beat to get to this point. You know, other than like we said, Ortiz and Andy Ruiz. Who else is there that he didn't fight? You know, and again, he may have sidestepped those guys, but who else he did not fight, or Usyk that he needed to fight to get to this shot? So he's put in the work, he's put in the time. What can he do to make it work? What would require him to do make the upset?
It might be something he's not capable of, but I think he has to fight a smart fight, right? Has to be more strategic, because you come in there just swinging all crazy and wild, and you keep missing, the boxing skills of Tyson Fury will destroy you. And it can frustrate you. What you saw, Deontay Wilder got very frustrated in a couple of their fights. But I think he's had to be calculated and I think the other part too, I think he needs to get physical with Tyson Fury. And what I mean by physical, not trying to beat him up or hurt him like that, but he needs to grab a lot.
He needs to push back.
He needs to be close. He needs to be close. So when you get a shot, you got to make it count. But by grabbing, which Tyson Fury did to Deontay Wilder, you take away the substance of the power that he has. So you almost have to take the approach that Tyson Fury used with Wilder. You take his power away by getting closer. Now, there might be some uppercuts and whatnot, but by staying closer, you stay in close, you can hold on to him. It also makes for the fight to go longer, because clearly Tyson Fury is going to be the better boxer. He moves around well for a big man. He's going to be here and not be there, and all of a sudden he can catch you at angles. And when he's able to do that, that's why he's going to have to fight a more smarter fight, calculated. He's going to hold on to him and just be aware so he can protect himself. The question is, can he do that? But if he tries to come in and be all wild, just trying to knock out, is there a chance he could catch him? Sure, there's always a chance. But if in order for him to win this fight, he's going to have a different kind of style. It's going to take, he's going to have a strong mental game, have to move around, play it easy, take his time, because his real shot may not come till later in the fight. If you try to come in early and try to get over quick, you better be on point. You better score those shots and that knockout quick. But the longer you wait, the other part that we're seeing with some other fighters too is, if he takes his time and is able to hold on and stay around for a while, when you do go into the later rounds, you'll have your stamina, you'll have your energy, so you can take shots and go after him with full force because you're still energized and ready to go. Question is, can he pull that off?
Well, and that's the question. Can it be done? Can it be done by this guy? And let's take the flip side of this, John. We're making an assumption. It may be a correct assumption. We're making the assumption that there is a level here. There's Tyson Fury, then there's everybody else. What is it that Tyson Fury does that puts him on that level? Let's look at the positive sides of both guys for a change.
Well, he's just so huge. You know, he's a behemoth. That's what he's just such a big guy that he's got the reach. He's faster than these guys. He's a freak in a sense of nature. He is. He's like in basketball. He'd be a big lumbering guy. You know, he'd be good for rebounds. But he's got fast feet, which would make him maybe not such a big lumbering guy. He'd probably get down the court pretty good. So in boxing, being as huge as he is, he's Charles's. He used to be more Charles's favorite word. Also, he's crafty. He's not as crafty as he was before. And that's on purpose. Right. That is on purpose. But he's awkward. if you watch Savannah Marshall, who's trained by Tyson Fury's dad, you see she's got all the same kind of moves. She dips this way, dips this way.
Right.
You know, they're like, they do these little things that try to keep you thinking all the time. And he has said something, Frank, that if I was Dillian Whyte, I'd have noted very, very carefully. He said he's gonna go for a first round knockout. So I'm gonna believe him. Because he's Sugar Stewart has turned him more into a puncher now than he was. If you remember, he sits down on his punches more. So what we've talked about a million times on this show is styles, right?
Right.
If anything, that gives, back to what you were talking with Charles, gives Whyte a better chance of maybe catching him if he can watch out, because you know Fury's going to be thinking about what Povetkin did to him. And that's a little short left uppercut when they're called bam. So he's got to be wary of that, and he's got to be ready for this onslaught and stay mentally tough and hang in there. But Fury is a puzzle. He would be a puzzle for, and I'm talking about the greatest would even had a problem with him because he's so huge and he's faster. Muhammad would have had a problem with him. I'm never going to say he could have beat Muhammad Ali. No way. But it would have been hard. It would have been hard because he's also got another thing that is so important in fighters. He's got a big heart, Tyson Fury. He gets up. So he's a tough opponent for anyone, and Whyte will have to have some kind of a game plan to stick with what he's doing. But if I'm really liking that, if I'm on his side, going good. He said he's going to come out and get us. We're going to believe him. We're going to be ready for him. We're going to work on it, countering what he's doing. We're going to stay within ourselves. So the first round might really be very interesting.
This is one of those things. I think we're looking at. We go on with the foregone conclusion because of the recent history, because of what we've seen Tyson Fury do with Deontay Wilder. What we've seen again, I don't think we give credence to the wins that Dillian Whyte has racked up in the last few years, even though I don't know why we wouldn't, because again, as I said, it's the people that he had to fight that are at the top of the division. But I'm looking at a way to play devil's advocate here, and I don't know that there's a way. Charles, what can we see from, let's see, the first 3 rounds? What does Tyson Fury have to do to lock it down in the first 3 rounds? To say, son, you don't have a chance, you might as well go home now. That he doesn't normally do.
Well, I think John hit it on point. If he feels that there's something that he sees in regards to going for the knockout, if he feels like, okay, I'm going to move around a little bit, I'm going to hit you with a jab, and then I'm just going to unleash it to you because I don't think you can handle it, then I think that's what he does. And I think that's how he's going to come forward on him because he doesn't believe he has the chin. And Tyson Fury will hit him. And then if he's able to move out the way when Whyte counters, I think that's going to be the key. So if he keeps coming forward and you say, oh, yeah, he has a puncher's chance. But if I hit you, and then I make it possible, I don't make it possible for you to counter, I can knock you out. And I think that's why he believes he can. Because at one, I think that he'll probably think, and I haven't seen Dillian Whyte, maybe you guys can tell me about it. I didn't see the press conference or whatever. But if Dillian Whyte comes in the fight out of shape, if he's not in great shape, then I think that's where Tyson Fury is like, you're coming in here sloppy, and you think you got a chance against me?
Right.
And I don't know what kind of shape Tyson Fury is right now. I haven't seen him. But he said, you're coming here sloppy against me, against I'm the best guy on the totem pole. And now to the point, you know what I'm saying, at the top of the roost. And now you want to come after me and you're not ready. So I think that's what he's going to end up doing. He's going to come out looking at him like, I'm going directly for you. And if it doesn't work the first 3 rounds, then I'll adjust accordingly. Because the other thing I think he's probably going to be looking at is, if I can't get you out right away, I'm going to buy my time for maybe another 2 rounds. And I really believe that he thinks a lack of stamina and energy from Dillian Whyte is going to be a problem. And he'll eventually get him in the later rounds.
So we're still a few days away. John, we'll start with you. Victor round. What happens here?
Well, I see now. I'm opposite of you. Last week, I remember Frank, you went earlier with Spence and Ugas, and Charles and I were later. I think I'm earlier this time. I think he's not going to knock him out in the first round, but I think he's going to get him in 7.
Okay. All right, Charles, what do you think?
I feel like I'm on Price is Right. I want to go later than John.
$1. $1.
You reversed it.
Just because I won't go 9. No, I don't think he's going that long. No. I want to say I'm gonna go 6.
You're going to 6.
Okay.
6. I think
I almost went with 6.
I'm gonna go with 6 because I think that he's just after a while, like I said, I can see Dillian Whyte getting desperate. And when you get desperate, you fit right into where there's no way I see him going like 10 rounds. Because I guess my question is, what is Dillian Whyte going to do? I don't think he's going to have the strategy that's going to allow him to. He's going to either have to go for it all the way, or just all or nothing. I don't think he has a strategy to last that long, because it's going to take a strategy and a certain way to approach it to last that long, and I don't see that coming from him.
Well, I appreciate you guys splitting the difference there and making me having to go really fast or really long. I look at it this way, and it has something to do with a couple of different things here. One, I don't know that the size advantage is going to play itself out quite as quickly as we think it is, because you're going to have to wear the guy down. And again, looking at Dillian Whyte and looking at I'm assuming how he's trained. The last thing I saw, he looked pretty good. I don't think you're just the wear and tear that Tyson Fury is going to put on your body is going to take effect right away. But I think it's going to come to later rounds, and I'm leaning towards 9, but I'm going to say 8. I'm going to say 8. Yeah.
6, 7, 8.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8. Well, this is the Price is Right. I'm going to go $1 more than him. But the idea being that I believe that the physicality, that weight is going to, no pun intended, wear him down, weigh on him. But I think it's going to take a while for 2 reasons. One, I think that Dillian Whyte is going to come in here with all kinds of passion, all kinds of, I have something to prove, all kinds of adrenaline, all that. And that's going to will him through the first third of the fight, maybe in the first half of the fight. That's going to get him through that. So that gets him to Charles's round. Then I think that there'll be a couple of times here and there where, because of that, he's going to say, Tyson Fury is going to say, I'm not going after him just yet, because I don't want to risk getting blasted, because it's a heavyweight he's fighting against. So he's going to try and school him, figure it out for another couple of rounds. And then by the 8th round, he's going to say, I've got him pegged now and I've got it done. So I'd say I'm not going to say the first 6 rounds are going to be boring, but I'm going to say they're going to be kind of, I'm wearing you down. I'm doing my due diligence. I'm making it work for me. And then boom, boom, boom.
See, I kind of think Dillian Whyte's chin is going to have to hold up pretty early. I think Fury is going to tattoo him pretty early, and he might get the first round stoppage. I'll just put it out there. He might get it, just because I don't know about his chin. It's okay to a degree, but what we've been saying, if Dillian Whyte is not in the best condition of his life for this fight, he's never going to be in. So that's why I'm thinking he's going to be able to handle it. Maybe. I mean, your chin is iffy. Your chin is iffy. I wouldn't say it's an iffy chin. That is, he isn't chinny like they were saying about Lubin, and he's not either. But I think he worked really hard. He looks like he's in good shape, like you said, Frank. And Fury is never going to be a body beautiful guy. He's kind of flabby and everything, and that kind of offends me, because I think the heavyweight champion ought to look cut.
Could look better than me. Yeah, right.
Yeah, he should. He looks like he's training with one hand and drinking a beer with the other. Fury, but he makes it work. And that's what makes him kind of unique. I think Whyte is going to be primed. And if he's not, it's his own fault, because again, back to what we started with, if you're begging for a shot and then your shot comes and you don't even get yourself in your best shape, then your passion isn't there anyway. So he'll take his money and go home and disappoint a lot of his fans. But I think he really knows this is his chance. Well, how can he not, right? He wins this fight, God, he can make 30 million his next fight. So he should be the best of what he is. I know I was mean when I said he wasn't special, but I still feel bad about that. See, Catholic boy here, still feel bad. But he's not. Let's be honest. He's not special. Come on. He's, pretty good.
Okay.
He's okay. He's pretty good. But
All
other
right,
than that,
so
he's no.
we don't.
But he will be the best he can be. I'll
He'll
say
be the
that.
best he can be. Okay.
Prove
We
me
don't-
wrong, Dillian. Knock him out, and I'll take it all back and eat massive crow right here on the show next week. Well, at least carrots. I'll eat carrots next week.
Well, we don't do a lot with the gaming aspect of this. We don't really, because that's not what we know. It's not what I know. But Charles, I'm gonna throw this at you, and we're gonna call this the over/under round. Over/under. Let's say that Tyson Fury wins.
Mhm.
Over/under the combined total of fights that these two will fight the rest of their careers. Over 2. Over the number is 2. Let's put it that way. Will they fight more than 2 more fights combined, or are they done?
Oh, wow. I say it's over.
Okay.
I said, the reason why I say that is because I can't see Dillian Whyte just walking away. Because I think he's going to say, I fought supposedly the best guy, right? Which makes me ready for another fight of one of those guys that may not be the greatest guy as far as on the highest level. Somebody might make a couple of different offers. And then true to the game, Tyson Fury would probably say, I'm done. But everybody wants to see that Joshua fight. Everybody wants to see it. Everyone wants to see it. And I know that there's probably no more reason why you wouldn't want to see the fight with Wilder anymore, but they definitely want to see that Joshua fight. So with that being said, that's 2 already. And then you probably throw something else in for Whyte. That's 3. So that plus the Joshua fight, win, lose, or draw, there's probably a rematch or something in there too. Because let's say, if Usyk beats Joshua, people want to see that fight too. Because it's like, okay, the Gypsy King versus guy that's really mobile, whatever. So the money is going to be a major player in this. And as much as Fury talks about walking away and he's happy, he's in a good place right now, he's not stupid. It's the reason why he moved to Las Vegas. He knows he's in the entertainment capital of the United States and possibly the world. He moved there because he wants to be seen. He's more of a commodity now, and he understands the boxing business aspect of it. And if somebody's going to offer you, getting what you said, 27 million now, if you can average 27 or 35, whatever it is, because Anthony Joshua fight, if he fights, let's say, over across the way, then it would be millions of dollars. So you might get like 40 out of that. And you get like, let's say, for instance, you're doing some Floyd stuff and you making 150 million in 1 year, you're going to take it, bro. So that's why I say I think it's going to be more, the over is definitely what we're looking at.
Okay, John, I know I don't usually do this, but same question.
Yeah, I agree with Charles. I don't think Dillian Whyte walks away. He's waited too long for this. He's got a rematch with Joseph Parker if he wants it. Hell, he could even fight Chisora again, who always gets dug up and put back in the ring. I love Derek Chisora. He's such a gutsy dude. I love that guy. So he doesn't walk away. He'll probably be demanding a rematch no matter what happens. He's been wanting one against Joshua. So yeah, over. I am not buying that Fury's going to retire. He always says he's been retiring for 5 years, 6 years now. He retired after he beat Klitschko, but he just retired and went and partied and gained all kinds of weight. So as soon as somebody comes back and offers him like the Usyk fight, I'm going to segue to Joshua though, because when you guys were talking, Joshua, he is the most polarizing and perplexing fighter on the planet, as far as I'm concerned, other than Crawford, because and Crawford in a good way. I like Crawford, but Joshua, to me, what they project really fast, his team is he's had no fights since Usyk, right? Why? Fight. That's how you get better. If you can get better.
You go.
When you don't fight, right? That makes me think that your team, meaning Eddie Hearn, is afraid that you could get beat again. And then there goes the Usyk rematch. and any possibility of him ever fighting Fury or whatever. So as we've been saying, he's so protected and overrated in a lot of ways. And he's still, I mean, he's not special either, but he's pretty good. He's got some skills, but I just never understand why you do that. And then the why comes to me, well, maybe because his team and him aren't convinced that they're that good. So they better rest on their laurels and wait for the big opportunity. And he's going to get it. He's getting the rematch with Usyk, in June. But his career's on the line. He loses again to Usyk. Do your over and under on that one, Frank.
Well, that's where I was going to go. Oh, first of all, have they officially signed that bout?
Yes.
Okay, so that was the point I wanted to make.
A rematch clause in there, yeah.
But the match has officially been set. We've got Usyk and Joshua. Now, let's see if the scenario plays out. I've been talking with my hands a lot lately. Sorry about that. Here's how this
on, Frank. Frank Gorgolini. Right. Frank Gorgolini. That's right. I'm making an offer to him. Gorgolini.
But let's see the fallout of this whole thing. All right. So I know. Stop that. My mother told me to put my hands in my pockets. I don't put my hands in my pockets. People think you stole something. But anyway, so we've got Usyk and Joshua coming up, right? So the way I see this, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, the way I see it is this. The winner of Usyk Joshua will face the winner of this fight. It would stand to reason that the loser of this fight would face the loser of that fight for a couple of reasons. One, you have the Whyte Joshua rematch, the only other fight, or one of the only two fights, unless you want to dig up Povetkin again. Whyte gets a chance to get.
No, he's done.
Yeah, right. So you get it. Whyte gets a chance to get redemption against somebody, right? Now I don't know that propels him against another title fight. I don't know, but I don't, because what I think, and Charles, you're going to have to clarify this for me. What I think has happened is that Tyson Fury has locked up the division by beating everybody other than, again, Ruiz and King Kong and all that. But I don't think they're going after him either. That I don't know what the pecking order is right now. And I don't know if there is a pecking order. So I would think the losers of this fight each other. Maybe they get a chance to go back against either the loser of the winners or whatever. Make sense of this for me, because I'm trying to figure it out, Charles. I'm trying to figure it out.
I'm not sure if there's a pecking order, because I think, as you said, Tyson Fury's at the top, and until he loses, somebody's able to take him down. Then, that might be a time where Tyson Fury goes, maybe I did something wrong, and maybe I don't want to fight no more. Or he'll say that, and then he'll go, I'm gonna go away till y'all come up with that money fight, which is
right.
the Joshua fight. Because think about it, he's already, legacy's kind of set to a point. He beat the big bad monster in Deontay Wilder, took him down when nobody else thought they could. He legitimately beat him soundly. So the next big fight after a loss would be Joshua, because it's money. Not so much that it's the greatest opponent, but it's the money factor. So I'm not sure.
John said he sucks, so yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that's it. But I think on the other hand, though, you could say, I'm not sure. I don't think if Fury was to lose, he's going to go and, like, let's say Usyk loses, let me go fight Usyk. It's like, why do I don't need you. I need a real fight. I need some real money. And I'm not going to fight just to be fighting. It has to make dollars, and it has to make sense.
Right.
But on the other hand, the one thing that we're talking about, two things are out there that is starting to become a money situation, where you said pecking order and everything like that too. Nobody wants to fight Ortiz. Ortiz went out there and almost got beat, and really was left for dead. Comes back and wins that. You got Ruiz running, trying to fight somebody else. Nobody wants to fight him. The other thing too that we're hearing, and I don't know if he's off on some Vision Quest or Johnny Quest or whatever, but nobody's calling out the name of Deontay Wilder. And you can say it's not
my thunder. I was waiting to say that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but nobody's calling him out. I don't know if they said he don't. They can always say he doesn't want to fight. But I think for the right amount of money, he come back, but nobody's calling him out. Nobody said anything. So if you really say that you really want to step up, and Frank, this comes back to your point. I'm gonna bring it up because I know it's sort of like taking
Get it there,
a
get it there,
Band-Aid
get it there.
with a scab off of picking on a scab and trying to pick the Band-Aid off of it properly, and it hurts. You mentioned, is Deontay Wilder relevant? He's relevant because if you beat him now, it does matter. Because now nobody else, if he wasn't relevant, somebody will fight him. Nobody wants to fight him.
And there's my point. So why would you fight him? Well, let me put it this way. Let me say, in the business of boxing, why would you, if you want to prove a point, yes, you go find him right now.
No, can I interject real quick?
Well, let me finish what I'm saying first.
Go ahead.
In the business of boxing, where we're talking about ducking and not losing and all that, there's no way in hell you fight him, because this guy can hurt you. If you're one of those guys that says, I want to take on whatever challenge is there, you go sign him up right now. Go ahead and rebut.
I see it the other way. Because if I think that I'm decent and I really want a shot, I go fight him. Because if I think I can beat him, here's what I'm saying. If you think you can beat him, right? Yeah. If you think you can beat him, but at the shot, you take the shot, and if you beat him, you go up. Because nobody else, only one person legitimately, and that's Tyson Fury. Right. Tyson Fury is here. Everybody else is here.
And after those 3 fights, if you are one of these Chisora or one of these guys, do you think you can beat him?
I take the chance. You never know.
Ooh, I don't know if they do that. I'm saying I agree with you. I'm not saying that they will. That's the point.
But I guess my point is, though, I'm not sure if they will either. But if I'm gonna get in the ring, why do I want to mess around with some other jokers that I know I could possibly beat all day, or there's not a great chance of me losing, and I'm going to win?
They're not going to knock your head off like Wilder will.
Well, I get that, but then what you boxing for? Just to get along?
That's the point I'm trying to make. Yes.
Why are you boxing just to get along? You got a shot to fight Wilder. The thing is, and what we saw from a lot of things would be going in my mind real quickly. If I'm that guy, you don't know where Wilder's coming from. Does he want to fight anymore? Is he the same dude? There's a lot of questions to be answered. Yeah, he still had that right hand. He could knock the hell out you. I get that. But if he's not the same dude and he's not ready or whatever, you take a shot. Because here's the thing. If you go around that little merry-go-round, you talk about these so-called some has-beens or some okay dudes, you can go around that merry-go-round for a number of reasons. But I'm also looking at it from a business standpoint, is this. If I'm going to go around that merry-go-round thing with 3 different fights, what's my potential to make the money? If I fight Deontay Wilder, I'm getting a payday. So if I can make, let's say, $9 million for 3 fights, I fight Deontay, I'm guaranteed 10 to 12. I'm taking that fight. So even if I lose, I'm set. And then it can lead to a larger payday. Now this is about payday.
Right? Okay. But John, let's look at it this way. Because, yes, I'm not disagreeing with him. However, let's take the fighters out of this and let's put the money men in this. Let's put the agents in here. What do the agents want? The agents want to see your guy get the snot kicked out by Deontay Wilder.
Well, the agents want money, right? I mean, it's called prize fighting. They want money. So, if I was an honest agent, I'm cut from the same cloth.
There you go. If there's an honest agent, right?
Right. I'm cut from the same cloth as Charles. I'm thinking if I got a young heavyweight and Deontay Wilder is out there and I believe in my guy, I'm saying, hell yeah, you fight him. You can beat him. And then you beat him. Now we're on our way to the title, baby. Right. We're on our way to the title, baby. We're not wasting any time. But that boxing, Frank, even though a lot of guys don't believe this, it's true. To me, the way I look at it, boxing is all about risk. Right. It is. It's a risk sport all the way. So if you're not willing to gamble on your own talent and believe in yourself, then you really shouldn't be doing it.
Right. I agree.
It's as simple as that for me. You can't play it safe. Some guys do, they do okay with it. But if I'm a heavyweight and I can punch and I know what Deontay Wilder could do, But I believe I can handle him.
Okay.
I'll take him on. But real fast, I just want to say something about Deontay. Deontay, he's the talk about the guy lurking in the shadows, Charles.
Right.
That's Deontay. He's lurking in the shadows. And that was really a good point. I was thinking the same thing. Nobody's talking about him. Why is that? I think it's because the people that dislike him so much, they had to look at him again after the Fury fight. Because here we've been spending 40 minutes talking about Tyson Fury, how good he is. That man came within a whisker of beating him twice. And it was only because Fury's got so much will that he was able to get up and beat him. So what does that say?
Well, here's what it says. Here's exactly what it says. Now, how many people were lining up to fight Deontay Wilder other than for belts before the Fury fights? They weren't knocking down his door, right?
Only Ortiz.
For good reason, right?
Mhm.
What has changed? What makes anyone think he's any less dangerous now after going toe-to-toe with Tyson Fury for the last 3 fights? What makes anyone say, I can take that guy now? And I understand Charles's point, and I agree with it. But we're also looking at it from the business point of view and also from a health point of view. What makes me think that if I'm one of these guys, if I'm Tesoro, if I'm any of these other guys that are out to these names we've been recycling, what makes me think I can get him now? What has been proven by the losses of Tyson Fury that he's now beatable by me? He may be beatable by Tyson Fury, doesn't mean he's beatable by me. So if I value my life and I value my ranking, and I value this and I value my client and all that stuff, why in the hell am I stepping in the ring with this guy now when I didn't want to step in the ring with him before? That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm not saying that he's not valuable. I'm saying right now he's as dangerous, maybe more dangerous than he's ever been.
Can't I interject really
Please,
fast? You're making it way too complicated for us.
That's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Okay, you are. Yeah, you know all those things, but you played sports. Oh yeah, that's all there. But hey, you gotta go for it. I mean, you're only here once, man. You gotta go for it. And that's the way fighters live. I mean, you can get hurt. Yeah, okay. You're also thinking, Wilder, maybe he won't be the same guy. Maybe after he got brutally knocked out, that was a brutal beating he took. Maybe he won't be. I mean, he's never going to be a ballet dancer out there. You just try to stay away from his right hand. But if he gets you, you're going to sleep. But again, that's the risk of it. So again, he's a name. That's how I bring up Joe Louis. That's how Joe Louis built his resume. He knocked out all former heavyweight champions: Max Baer, Primo Carnera, Jack Sharkey. They were still dangerous. They were still dangerous fighters. Max Baer was in his 20s. He was the Deontay Wilder of his time. He killed somebody, right? And hurt another guy bad. But Joe Louis was 21 years old. He took him on, knocked him out in 4 rounds. So that's what you do in boxing.
I don't disagree with it, but I don't see them doing that now. So, Charles.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Frank Gordolini.
Thank you for the opportunity. So I do agree with what you said about why would some of these so-called guys that may not be in the top tier take the opportunity to fight because of the risk and the risk of their ranking. I get all that. But on the flip side, you talked about business. From a business standpoint, you mentioned about the promoters and them protecting their guys. That's the fight you take. Because for the business standpoint of it, if you fight Deontay Wilder, it's probably going to be the biggest payday you've ever had in your life. And instead of fighting 4 guys, like I mentioned, for minimal price, you know what you're going to get from this. You just guarantee cash. So granted, yeah, your career, your little safety valve with where you are in the ranking might be damaged, but you probably walk away with more money than you have. And then there's an inkling, there's a chance you could win. We ain't talking about winning right now. We talking about straight cash.
Surviving, right? Okay. Right.
Well, not even that. If you get knocked out in the 3rd round, okay, yeah. You got a cash run. You know, I love my run. You got a cash run. More money than you have had probably ever And it's worth it. That's what makes it worth it. And your promoter, sure, even though he's talking about holding you, whatever, I guarantee you right now, if they came to Bob Arum, whatever, and that's a bad example, or even somebody else, if they go, well, we're going to keep you safe with this, but then they just offered us, and this is totally preposterous and
$7 million.
They
$7 million.
offered you $15 million to fight Deontay Wilder. And he might go, well, hell, we know he's going to get killed in his mind, but that's $15 million. My cut is just that. I guarantee you, Bob Arum all day is going to go, yo, you need to take this fight.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're going to get killed, but but
your wife will love the money. Right.
And he'll go, this is the fight you've been waiting on. He'll sell it that way. This is what you've been waiting on your whole career. It makes sense. And by the way, they're going to get $15 million, yeah. And we're going to get all this stuff. Yeah, but I think that's part of it. So I think that's why I say that's why it makes sense. Because granted, it's your health, but as John said, you take risks. If you're taking risk anyway, why not take a shot and go after a guy who still has name recognition, still dangerous, which means you're going to get more money because he's still considered dangerous, and you are crazy enough to get in a ring with him? Yeah. So more people going to watch you either get destroyed or it's your coming out party. It's worth the risk to me because I'm like, even if I don't fight ever again, I'm 15 to the good compared to 4 more fights. I might get 9 out of all that. And then my wife will still be happy as long as I don't have brain damage. I may never fight again. Maybe I'll become an announcer or whatever. But I'm already 15 to the good.
Do a podcast.
For the same risk that I'm taking having to get in the ring 4 more times. I'm going to take the one shot of glory. Whatever happens, it don't work out, I'll be at, well, are you okay? Yeah. No orbital bones. I'm straight. I got 15 mil. I don't have to ever fight again. I'm going to be Sean Porter. I'm going to get my money.
All right, now let's look at this. We're gonna tell the people that usually edit the show, screw it, we're going long. All right, let's take this another step. So let's say all this comes to pass, and let's say 2 or 3 people line up to fight Deontay Wilder because they think that's going to get their name up there, and they lose. And Deontay Wilder still is there. He has beaten everybody else but Tyson Fury. John, is there Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder 4? Will that ever happen? Will we ever see
that again? I we'll cut out a little bit.
I was trying to use my voice for effect. Will there ever be Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder 4?
Well, when you guys are talking, I'm thinking if or when, I'll just say if Dillian Whyte loses, his comeback fight could be against Deontay Wilder. And then he could say, if I beat him, I want Fury again.
And he loses
and
Wilder.
If Wilder really wants to fight Fury again, which I kind of doubt, he could say, I beat him, I want him again. So the easy answer is no. I mean, in fantasy land, it's fun to talk about.
Ooh. All right, well, why
Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder 4, especially after the last one, because the last one was too much of a beatdown. Even though he got knocked down twice, the last 3 rounds, he did what Spence did in a sense.
Right. He
dominated the last 3 rounds and just beat the crap out of Deontay Wilder. So I can't see.
Okay, but see, Charles, here's the thing. While we may think he doesn't want any more of that, do you think Deontay Wilder says, look, I was close. I wouldn't mind getting back in the ring with him and trying this again?
Ooh, he might say that, but I think he's also, there's a reality part of it. And I think that might come from his family and his wife.
Sure, okay.
From the standpoint of, this is dangerous. We already know what it would take, to the point of, and it's not saying Deontay Wilder wouldn't do it. If the money was right and he felt amped up, he's gonna say, I'm a warrior, all that stuff. And he amped himself up to do it again. But I think his family now is like, you don't need to fight anymore. You don't need to risk this. You don't need to go out there and put your life on the line again. And this, like as John said before, this man took you to hell. You don't need to do this anymore. And I think part of it would be him saying that, I don't know, you don't need to do this anymore. So I'm going to say no from that standpoint too, that he literally got so mad and frustrated and he went to a dark place that he got rid of the trainer, bruh.
Right.
You blamed it on the trainer. Let me say real quick.
Okay.
You blamed it on the trainer, and it was always his fault. And I'm a man, I go out on my sword. And then you were still a man when you lost the last time. You know, we never talked about the other dude either. So you went out on your sword, but it's just to that point where you made all these changes and you still lost. Now what?
Now, but see, here's the now what. Now that's the thing. Now what? If you've been the champion and you've reaped all the rewards you get from the champion, and now you don't think, or your family doesn't want you to, or whatever, you can't go back and get the title. You don't feel that that's a possibility. This is bringing this whole conversation full circle. Why the hell are you fighting Dillian Whyte? Why the hell are you fighting Anthony Joshua? Why would you go back to that if you don't want to go back to the mountaintop again?
Oh, you gotta let us answer that. Go first, John.
Oh yeah. If you don't have it in your heart anymore to go for it, then you shouldn't be doing it, because it's too much work and sacrifice and passion and all that. And the fact that Deontay Wilder, to me at least, and I'm just speculating, the fact that he hasn't really said anything about coming back makes me think that he's not sure what he wants to do. You know, I think he's 37 now. Not that age is that big a deal on heavyweights, but I think he's not sure. He made so much money in those fights. What we were talking about, Charles. He made so much money in those fights with Fury. He's got 5 or 6 kids and a sweet wife, and his wife might be saying, she was there.
Right.
I don't ever want to see that again.
Right.
And that's Wilder, for all the negative stuff he gets, he's actually a very nice guy, a very sensitive guy. And if your woman is saying, look, I don't want to see you do that again, that's going to carry a lot of, and then your kids, if your kids come to you and say, Daddy, I don't want you to, ugh. So if he can't go to the mountaintop again as far as getting ready, then he shouldn't do it. That's the way I see it. And he's hopefully, and I think he is, lucky enough that he doesn't have to do it. You know, he's got all the money. They always come back because they need money. And I don't think, I can't see that unless he lives out in Alabama in a nice big home, and he's not a guy that blows his money from what I understand. So he should be set for life plus his family. So he's got nothing to prove as far as I'm concerned, unless he gets it in his mind that he's got something to prove to himself. Yeah. And then if somebody offered him a fight with whoever, like Andy Ruiz, or not Luis Ortiz because he beat him twice, but someone, he might take it. But I think he's very much like this right now. He's not sure what he wants to do.
Unless he's found it in his heart and he's watched one of these shows to invest in the Ultimate Sports Network and has lost $10 million, well, then that's another story entirely. But yeah, I don't think that that's going to be a motivating factor. So, Charles, what is?
Ooh, I see your point. Both of your points about if you don't want to go to the mountaintop, don't do it. And maybe, I'm not sure if he wants that again. Because he gave up.
Not to cut you off, but because he's already been to the mountaintop.
Okay, right. I mean, however you want to put it, doing it again, or you already been there. I mean, however you want to put it about the mountaintop, that's great. You know, we ain't got no MLK Jr. thing going on here, but if you already been there, I understand what you guys are talking about. But there's one reason why I think that he would come back and why he would want to do it. And I don't think it's so much about the mountaintop, because I'm not, as much as he would take the fight with Tyson Fury again, just to prove who he is as a man, I don't think that's enough for him to go, I'm going to take this journey again, because you changed trainers, you did everything, you changed the way that you went about it, and then you blame the referees for the 19th time, and it was you still came up short. I think he realized that man's a formidable challenging opponent that you just need to let history lie where it is. Why put yourself? I don't think even his wife would go, she agrees to that, which I don't think that's why he won't fight him again, because she was there watching that. Right. But I do think there's one reason why he would come back, and the wife might even sign off on it. That reason is because if Anthony Joshua comes back and they would have proved himself that he's worthy, he's always wanted to prove that I can knock that mother sucker out, and I'm better than him. I think he always wanted that fight. I think it never came off. And I think in the right situation, if Anthony Joshua went on a little winning streak and whatever he did, and I'm not sure it's going to happen tomorrow, and if he's still young enough to do it, and they put it out there on the table, I think that's a fight Deontay Wilder will run after because he wanted to show everybody. Granted, I didn't get Tyson Fury, and I'm man enough to go, maybe he's my kryptonite. But that shaky dude from across the way.
Shaky dude.
That shaky dude, I can get him any day of the week, and that'll be my swan song to show y'all. I told y'all I was going to knock that mudsucker in the next week. And I think he would do it. It would make a lot more money. It would make sense financially. So I think that's the one fight that if he does decide to come back and it makes sense and people want to see it, I think he'd jump under because I really believe deep down in his soul, he thinks that that's a guy. He can get him easily. He just know in his heart he believes he can't touch me because of the way that Joshua comes across. And I don't think thinks Joshua has enough dog in him to meet him. Fury did. Fury met him right where he was. It's like, you think you tough? You start cussing him at him and telling him you want this and that. I don't think believes Joshua has that in him because of how Joshua has lost to Usyk and also when he lost to Ruiz. To Ruiz. I don't think he has that dog in him enough to beat Wilder. And I think Wilder would take that fight in a heartbeat.
So let's end this way because this is what I see. Or this is what I want to see. This is what I want to understand. Let's rank, John, the heavyweights as they exist right now, 1 through 5.
Well, obviously Fury is 1, and Usyk. I think Usyk is 2, and Joshua has to be 3, right? Since Dillian Whyte's getting a heavyweight shot, he's 4, and then Wilder is 5. Wilder could be 4 or 5 because Wilder is an ex-heavyweight champion. Wilder is the guy who made 8 defenses of his title. Wilder deserves the respect for doing what he did. So he's still there. And that was really an excellent point you made, Charles. And I agree with you. If you want to fire up an athlete, you tell him, look, you're going to get to play or fight the guy that you wanted a few years ago. Mm-hmm. So and it would be a rematch. There would be a rematch clause because Joshua always has rematch clauses. Right. So you might get two fights. You knock him out, you might get another chance to knock him out. So it seems unfathomable because Joshua has to beat Usyk and then he has to beat Fury for that to happen. But hey, it's possible. And that was the fight I really wanted to see all these years was Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Right. Because like you guys, I thought Deontay Wilder would knock him out. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you're right again, Charles. I don't think Joshua wants any part of that. Nope, he does not want to go anywhere near that guy. And you could say that's smart. But Eddie Hearn's not going to let it happen either because Eddie's constantly like this protecting Joshua. So that would be about the coolest thing that would ever happen in boxing if Wilder said, "Okay, I'm coming back just to fight him." Okay. I mean, that would really be. People hate him. That's fine. Sure. They can hate him all they want, but man, that would sell out so fast. That was good, Charles. Really good.
Charles, your ranking.
Fury 1. Just because I guess you got to give it to him because he has the belts. Not that it was that impressive because he beat Joshua. You got to put Usyk 2, right? I'm just saying. Anyway, you just keep putting that dude up there. He keep losing and just putting him right to the greatest thing, It's like Terence Crawford being number 1 and he got 1 belt. Anyway, another story. But 3 would probably have to be Joshua because he's active, has another chance to fight, like John said. Clearly, to me, Wilder's 4. You have to any time a guy goes in against the so-called current champion that clearly is clear the path, shows that he's the dominant number 1. You fought that guy 3 times and you took him y'all went to the end. to hell and back.
The edge.
You got to give him his love for that. And so he's definitely 4. Because you could put Whyte at 5, but I mean, hell, just put a name in there. It don't, to me, truthfully, I'm just saying 5, it don't matter. You can
White, green, brown, doesn't matter.
Yeah, insert who the hell you want to. I'm not saying that Whyte has not deserved it because he's done that, but there's a couple guys you could interchange. But you have to give Deontay Wilder his love at 4 simply because of what he's done. He stepped in there again, and he fought a guy nobody wants, and that's Ortiz. Nobody wants to fight that monster.
Yeah, White.
Nice.
Nobody wants it, and he did it. That alone should make him cemented right now at number 4.
Okay, then I'm going to ask this question again. We're going long. Sorry, folks. Just keep on listening. Why isn't Wilder 2?
Is that for me?
Yeah. Why isn't
Well,
Wilder
because
2?
he lost. He lost twice. And you look back in history, that's how it always was. When Joe Frazier lost to Muhammad Ali in the rematch.
Let's forget that. This is your ranking. This isn't their ranking. This is your ranking.
Why isn't he 2 to me?
Why isn't he 2 to you? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he fought really well, but he still lost. And I thought he lost the first fight. So in a sense, he would have lost 3 fights to Fury. So, and he hasn't done anything since. So you could say that you earned that spot, but not that high up. I think Charles made a very good point. 4 is probably correct. Actually, I think it is. He should be above Dillian Whyte. He's better than Dillian Whyte, I think. So where he is, you could even make him 3 if you wanted to make an argument for it, because Joshua has also lost twice and he lost his last fight. So you could really be Fury, Usyk, Deontay Wilder if you really wanted to, and because they're interchangeable because they lost. But that's how it always is with rankings. You know, in sports, you lose, you drop. That's how it is. And all he needs is a win to get back up there. But yeah, that's the way I'm thinking about it.
Okay, Charles, what do you think?
Ooh, thank you, Frank.
You're welcome.
Okay. I think
White.
Yeah, he is. I can't believe that this week. I'm like, ooh, he let me go and let me literally answer that question this time. Must be Christmas. Anyway, or his birthday. Anyway, but I think that the reason why Wilder is not 2 for me, simply because he doesn't have the belts. If you say talent-wise, I think he's 2. I think he could beat Usyk. I think he also could beat Joshua. But the factor that he doesn't have the belts kind of give you credence, and that's how we've been used to, or I've been used to ranking guys, right? Not so much about how much talent you have. You know, you fought the best guys, like, okay, it should be 1, 2. We see that all the time. You lose, they drop you down significantly. So I'm going off the factor that Usyk has the belts, right? He has some belts. And then Joshua's in line to have the belts. So, of course, he's going to get the love. As far as talent, though, and being dangerous, I think he's right there. But I think that's why Wilder, and he has not been active, so he's at 4. I think that's the main thing, but it has nothing to do with, if you said, the ranking, because I'm ranking them because of the belts and the potential to get belts, not based on talent. But when we look at the belts, that's how I rank it, based on belts and the potential to win belts.
Okay, now I'm going to throw this one at you then, because haven't we been saying all along that the belts don't matter?
They do this time.
They do this time.
Well, they do. They do.
I understand. No, I get you. I understand. I get it. Well, see, this is the point of this particular thing. And we can go and say the welterweight's the same thing. Is it a subjective list that we call because of the way we want to call it? Or is it because it actually matters in the way it's going to be done? Because in this situation, the way I see it, and I'm not the expert, you guys are, but the way that I see it is that if you're going to put one of these guys in the ring with the other one, who's going to win the fight? That's how I rank them. And if you put in anybody with Tyson Fury right now, Tyson Fury is going to win. Whether it be Wilder, whether it be Joshua, whether it be Usyk, whoever, that's the way I see it. But when you start making this a round-robin tournament, who ends up coming up to be the second-tier player? It's going to be Deontay Wilder. I can't see him losing to Usyk. I can't see him losing to Joshua. I can't see him losing to Dillian Whyte. I can't see him losing to Ruiz. I can't lose him seeing to Ortiz. I can't lose him seeing him losing to Chisora. So that's the number 2 guy. Now, again, he's got to be active, and we don't know if he's active or not because we don't know the aftermath of that. It wasn't like it was 18 months ago that fight happened. So he hasn't decided to throw his hat back in the ring, but we don't know if he's going to. And my point of the whole thing would be that, and I know you guys have said it a couple different ways, but if he doesn't want to get back in the ring again with Tyson Fury, why get back in the ring at all? Because as you said, he's got enough money, he's got enough status, he's got enough stuff, doesn't have to worry about it. But if he decides that I still think I can beat that guy, if he goes 10 cup at him, I think I can get that shot. I can make that shot. Then fight the rest of these clowns and prove it. Or let them see if they can fight him, which is probably more accurate because he'll fight anybody. They've got to go get him. And I think if he decides, if he puts his sign out there and says, I'm back in business, y'all want a piece of this? They'll all scurry. And if that happens, we'll see what goes on. Now, maybe they won't. I don't know. But I think they will say, we didn't want him before. Why the hell we want him now?
See, I disagree with you guys on him and Usyk. I think Usyk is a style nightmare for Deontay Wilder.
Oh, sure, yeah.
As he hits him, okay, but Usyk, you got to remember, Usyk has never lost as a pro.
Mhm.
That's huge. And he's that word again, Charles. He's crafty.
Mhm.
And Wilder's been outboxed numerous times by Luis Ortiz and everything. Usyk has never even been knocked down in his whole career. Would Wilder be able to knock it down? Hell yeah. That guy can knock down a building with that right hand. But I think that fight would be a fight that if I was Wilder's team, that would not be the one I would want if I could help myself. I would want the other fights first. I would want Joshua. I would want Joseph Parker. I would want something more along those lines, not Usyk. That might be the only way, though, that it goes. But, Wilder could come back and fight Andy Ruiz and go, see, now I fought this guy that my rival fought and lost to, and I beat him.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So again, we don't know. We're speculating what he wants to do. I hope he comes back because he adds excitement to the division. But I certainly respect what he's done, and if he wants to stay out, I totally get it.
Well, and let me interject real quick, Charles, and I'll get off of this. So, and this is when we say who's he fought, what's he done, all that stuff, and what are the fights that Usyk's hang his hat on at heavyweight? Joshua Chisora. And then the other real fight that I see that he's done anything with was Marco Huck. It's cruiserweight. So, and I agree with you, John, that would be the style that we would be looking for, or the opposite style. But again, that's where we say, what have you done at heavyweight? So, Charles.
Yeah, John, I love you, right?
It's okay.
You're my guy, but I'm going to have to disagree with you on this situation with Usyk. Simply because of the factor that I just remember watching Roy Jones, right? And I remember watching Roy Jones selecting the guy that he could beat at heavyweight, right? And I think when they had Usyk, when he moved up to heavyweight, they knew in their mind that they had the best shot was to go after Joshua. Because if you outbox him and you can outlast his power, and you outbox him, you can outsmart him, you can outbox him, and you can survive. And you can beat him because we're questioning whether or not he has the heart to go through, even if it's not about his heart, maybe it's the stamina, right? You get into a point where he starts to tire. And I think they had a calculated opportunity where they thought about like, you know what? We're going to go after somebody. Let's go after that guy. Because we think with the boxing skills, we can get him. But I think when you fight Deontay Wilder, right, all it takes is a little bit. And I think coming from cruiserweight, there's gonna be a time, as a lady on the TV show said, there's gonna come a time when you're gonna have to be a man and you have to man up. And I think that with Deontay Wilder, he is so devastating. And not to take away from Usyk's bouncing around, and I think he could fight a hell of a fight because he's a great boxer. But to me, he's a little dude. And he'd have to fight the perfect boxing exhibition to survive. And maybe he could come and beat him with a style. He could be perfect. It's been done. We saw the boxer for Frank and boxer / Frank's hatred of Sugar Ray Leonard versus Hagler. We've seen the boxer beat the brawler, right? We've seen that before. But I think the size, it had to be a perfect fight. But I think the size and the way that the way that Wilder delivers punishment, that at some point, we saw what he did to Fury. Can Usyk take that much punishment. Now, granted, he might run from me, get away from me all night. You know, oh, it's perfect. I stayed away from him and I punished him. But I'm not sure if he has enough girth as a cruiserweight coming up fight against a monster. And a guy that really, I think part of it too would be, for as much as you would walk away in the style that he has from moving away in boxing and kind of moving away from Wilder, I think the way that you'd have to beat Wilder too is you either have to outbox him or you have to get physical. And if you don't get physical enough with him, more than likely he's gonna catch you. And I just don't know if Usyk will be up to the challenge. I love to see it just because styles make fights, but I think, man, we seen Wilder knock the hell out of a lot of people. You know, was it Stavern? You know, some big dudes, and when Ortiz, bruh. So you put a smaller dude in there, and you want to take that L, take that. I want to see the fight. I'm gonna go with Fury. I mean, not Fury. I'm gonna go with Wilder. What was that? 40 fights for a while. How many knockouts? I'm gonna go with the big dude compared to the little dude. I love to see it though, so I'm gonna disagree with you on that. And I think it's gonna be the styles that will make the fight. So that's.
And as you mentioned, you can fight the perfect fight within 3 seconds. And if Usyk fights a great fight or a perfect fight, but he's off for 3 seconds, boom, lights out. Yeah. So that's the thing. That's why I said when we start talking all this stuff, and I know we've discounted the world has discounted Deontay Wilder after losing to Tyson Fury twice. But does that move him down the pecking order enough that other people can beat him? Like as you both have said, you know, undefeated up until it. And I've never been the staunchest Deontay Wilder supporter, to tell you the truth. But I know, big shot. But looking at it realistically, you know, what are the other guys bringing to the table that are going to beat him? So and again, this is what we do. We have these little conversations, little snippets of things. And Johnny had something else you wanted to throw in there real quick.
No, I think it's a great discussion. I do, and Charles made good points. I didn't convince me though. I think Usyk would drive Wilder nuts. I do. I think Luis Ortiz won 8 out of 9 rounds against him, and he got caught with a shot. Now, could Usyk do that? Yes. Could he get caught? Yes.
Yeah.
But I kind of have a feeling that he wouldn't get caught. He's a very smart guy, and he's a little guy, 6'1". So he'd be giving up 6 inches, not anything in weight. You know, he weighs about 220 now, and Wilder weighed 236 in his last fight, so he'd probably come back. So the weight thing would be close. It'd be that praying mantis, that Paul Williams type heavyweight with the long arms. That would be nightmarish and scary with that right hand coming at you. But I think straight shots would really, really drive Wilder nuts, like he did with Joshua. Now Usyk might get knocked out by Joshua.
Yeah, let's.
I mean, that's very possible. So that's the thing. Usyk did not look good in his previous fight against Chisora. He barely beat Chisora. So that's what Joshua was going to do. Whenever we talk about that, he's going to really put the pressure on Usyk. And Wilder doesn't really put pressure on you like that, but he just kind of, there's that word again, lurks, waiting to throw that right hand. So he'd have to be really smart in there, like you guys said, and crafty, and not get caught. And I know that's asking for a lot, but see, I think he could do it. I do. I think he's technically sound, so he'd figure it out. He's very smart, Usyk, and he'd figure out a way to not run into one of those right hands. But of course, he still could.
Good.
I just want to say one last thing as we move forward and get ready to close this lovely show. Sounds like we're going to have that same conversation about Crawford and Spence. I love it.
That one's a little, no, that one, ooh.
There's no need for me to say anything else other than this has been fun. All right. We're gonna check back with you next week and say, all right, 8 rounds. But anyway, it's the idea of, see, this is the fun of it.
Gloating already.
Gloating already. You got to pre-gloat because there's no way I'm going to have to be able to post-gloat. So, but the idea is to say, look, there are a lot of things, a lot of permutations, all these things, a lot of things can play out. But here's how we see it. And the three of us don't always see it the same, which is, I think, God, we don't, because this would be real boring and real short show. But the idea being, look, this is a possibility. We've said that with a lot of things, and the possibility was that the guy lost. The favorite lost, the front runner didn't pull through, or you got knocked out or whatever. So there's so many possibilities about what can happen. So that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, Frank, and next week is Valdez and Stevenson.
Yeah.
Serrano and Taylor.
And tell me we're not going to have something to talk about for that.
Predictions,
So, yes.
predictions.
Oh, speculations and
Oh my
permutations
gosh.
and salutations and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. All right. So we only went half an hour. No big deal. All right, folks. We will see you later. Have fun.